I have no idea what's going on with Pokemon leaks and Nintendo, so I've decided I'm just going to talk about everything. And the intro to this video is going to be a bit rambly, but please just listen through it as I explain what's going on here, because there's videos that have been up for almost a day getting thousands of views that Nintendo hasn't taken down, but they take down YouTubers, they take down influencers that are driving the discussion, that are driving the engagement and hype around the game. But then they can't do anything about Centro getting hundreds of millions of impressions. It's like, everything's spoiled anyways. Taking down a YouTuber isn't going to prevent the spread of information. It's only going to kill off any of the hype around the game. And then Centro Pokemon has Peruvian magic keeping them safe from all this stuff anyway. So they just get to fully leak everything. That's why I'm going to talk about it, because I want to have some kind of hype. I want it to feel a little bit like 2016, where it's nonstop news coverage, because I love talking about Pokemon news, and that is what this is. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below, use code VERLIS5 for 20% off your G Fuel order, because things are getting crazy. And if Nintendo, like, copyright strikes all my videos and my channel gets taken down because of it, well, Pokemon's dead anyways, and that's what this video is about. So I was thinking I was going to do like one big video covering all the leaks, but no, this is going to be like a 10 video series, because the Giga leak is just that massive, and there's like a 20-minute discussion inside of each little tidbit. So the next 5 years of planned Pokemon games have been leaked. Now the Giga leak is kind of old. Who knows if this is shifted because of like community sentiment, game performance, and all these other things that are going on. But the fact that like Game Freak would even attempt this just is like, okay, Game Freak's dead, it's over, GG. What? So 2025, 2026, we got Mega Dimension, and then 2026 Generation 10, and that's like a lot of the leaks. And Generation 10 is one of those things where like Game Freak's just too little too late on everything. Whatever caused the year delay of Pokemon Legends ZA to move like everything back a year might have just been for the Nintendo Switch 2, but also like Game Freak being hindered. The Nintendo Switch 1 has screwed over Game Freak because they can't make as big of projects as they want, and as we can see from like the leaked development stuff and gameplay, so I guess I will show a little bit of the Gen 10 leaks, just kind of keep everyone interested, gotta have that engagement for the algorithm. They can make good stuff. They can give us fidelity. The problem is they have to make Pokemon Legends ZA in 2025 on weak 2015 hardware with the Nintendo Switch 1, even with the Nintendo Switch 2 version upgrade. The only thing they can do is upgrade a game that had to be developed on a decade outdated, weak console, because that's how Nintendo works, and then trying to keep up with all the other trends and action like fidelity inside of games as well. And it's like, oh, but Xenoblade and Breath of the Wild. It's like, cool. Out of like the entire history of Nintendo Switch and that entire library, you have like 2 examples, because those games focused on graphics over gameplay, and now Pokemon has to keep up with like their massive gameplay structure that they've created. So like they've kind of gotten screwed over, but they're also not making the right plays to capitalize on this, because if we skip ahead, 2028, 2029 is their MMO, online multiplayer multi-region game. Finally. But like, where was this? And I guess you can't really do it on the Nintendo Switch, because like, yeah, like, and Nintendo doesn't have PC development, so like they have to wait for that next Gen 10 console. I think that's what we're on, like this big generation console where like the Nintendo Switch can finally do something. The Nintendo Switch 2 can finally allow Game Freak to make the big projects that they want. But like, this should be developed. Like, this should have been made for Nintendo Switch 2 to release this year if Game Freak is finally doing a multi-region MMO, or at least a multi-region game. Why did we get Pokemon Legends ZA inside of a city instead of Kalos? Why didn't we just get a larger, like, why didn't we just get a dual region game? Why didn't we get Let's Go Johto? It's like Game Freak making all the wrong decisions even into this console shift. And it's just like baffling. You can also see it in how like Pokemon Legends ZA is awful. All the designs of the Megas are just careless. Like Game Freak is lost. We have all these like new DEI hires coming in, ruining everything, which is kind of confirmed from the Generation 10 leak. So teasing future video stuff. And also it's like weird how we just get these downgrades where like this was supposed to be the Team Star Leader in Scarlet and Violet, where we have like this, I'm not even calling this DEI, this is actually hype, where we have the boss being this kid, this like punk ass rich kid's dad who just has Togekiss flying him around and stuff. We also had a really gnarly dude. Wait, I can do something. We had this really gnarly dude. Like it was actually cool. it was actually supposed to be cool, but instead it got like super duper watered down, and now in Pokemon Legends ZA, the male character can wear like tank tops and short skirts. Because Game Freak became a globalized company that has now like breached outside of Japan, so they can't keep any values or anything, and it's just a mess. There's also something else. Yes, Generation 10 is going to be an eco-based game. 10 challenges, or not 10, 18 challenges, one for each type, inspired by sustainable development goals. And then we also just have these like horrible designs where you're not allowed to say someone's design is bad. At Mega Starmie, someone cooked that up. You can't reject any designs these days, so that has to get put onto the fridge and just be a part of Pokemon forever now. It's looking really awful now. It's like, that's the thing, Game Freak's lost. We don't have any hyper-conservative old Japanese men making an edgy, cool creature collector game anymore. It's Zoomers ruining Pokemon because they didn't grow up with it and they have no respect for what Pokemon is, and now it's lost all of its identity because it's been corporatized and globalized. But yeah, so that's happening way too late. 2027, 2028, Legends Galar. Sticking with Legends, dropping Pokemon Let's Go. That's why I'm like, oh, I can just get 20 minutes out of just this right here. Because Pokemon Let's Go Johto, after that, Junichi Masuda did an interview, or maybe like as it was being released, someone asked, hey, if this game, or like, hey, is there a Let's Go 2 planned? And Junichi Masuda said, if this game does well, it's in the cards. And Pokemon Let's Go has sold way better than Pokemon Legends Arceus, even comparatively, where it's just like, well, it's been out for longer. But even like if you line up the times, and also the amount of Nintendo Switches, that Let's Go came out very early in the Nintendo Switch lifespan, had to compete with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and has still shattered Pokemon Legends Arceus on like sales and overall like relative stuff. So like, oh, if Game Freak wants to make more money, if it's about like some kind of profit margin or success or building out your company or just making a product people enjoy, the bad sales of Pokemon Legends Arceus are because it didn't resonate with Pokemon fans, and then it also didn't escape out of the community. Everyone from the outside went, oh wow, that looks like crap, I'm just going to play like a real game on the PC or something. That didn't bring anyone, like no one from the outside saw Legends Arceus, went, yo, this is Pokemon, I'm in. They went, wow, this is crap. And then half the Pokemon community went, wow, this is crap, because Pokemon Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet have sold almost double of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Whereas Pokemon Let's Go, that actually had the Pokemon Go crossover. That generated sales. And if you do it at this point where there's like 150 million Switches. Who knows how many Nintendo Switch 2s are out there right now. So you have like a much larger audience for a much more hyped game with like Pokemon Let's Go Johto. They don't do that. And then they've decided to commit to Pokemon Legends as a series, even though ZA is looking terrible. Everyone's hating that. If this, like, the ZA needs to fail, so this just gets completely scrapped. But if it does, Game Freak is like so behind on development cadence now. Like, how do they save it? They don't, because like their philosophy and ideas have just been so broken. So we got Gaia DLC. So like, okay, so let's go to Gaia. Generation 10, that's Gaia. That's next year. According to some kind of leaked development timeline. Oh yeah, also like we could have had this. Game Freak doesn't want to make cool things anymore. Sugimori and Junichi Masuda have been sent out to pasture. Now Pokemon sucks. Who would have guessed? So yeah, let me find that, I guess. Pokemon Legends 2 was originally planned to be released in 2024, while Gen 10 in 2025. Gen 10 will be a Switch 2 exclusive. So, I mean, like, see, Game Freak, something bricked, and they lost an entire year. So, like, yeah, we actually needed Pokemon Legends, and as we can see from how poorly this game is made, that the entire city is just one polygon or something. I don't know the like, I don't want to be some ignorant person, like all the people that are saying, like, oh, this isn't bad, or oh, this is bad. It just wasn't like, wow, that just looks really cheap and lazy. It also, this game only cost $12 million to make. So, like, if they just want to make a cheap and lazy, quick cash grab game, they should have just done that, commit it to 2024, and then put all their effort into 2025 and make it a Nintendo Switch exclusive. Who cares if the sales aren't going to be that crazy? You make it like a big mainstay, especially with DLC. Like, by the time DLC comes out the next year, everyone's going to have, or more people are going to have a Nintendo Switch 2, and then they can just funnel that in, and now you're going to get the base game sales and the revitalization, especially if the game is really good. And also kind of like proves that Nintendo has no control over Game Freak. Because I feel like if to move Nintendo Switch 2 consoles and to pad out the Nintendo Switch 2, because the big complaint is, oh, Mario Kart was kind of meh, Bonanza's incredible, but you beat that and there's nothing on Nintendo Switch 2 library, why did I even buy this thing? So, like, you actually need Pokemon to launch with the Nintendo Switch 2 on a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. They didn't. Something went wrong. Now, Game Freak's a year behind, and it looks unsalvageable. Like, Pokemon's just dead off of that. So we gotta wait for Generation 10 Gaia DLC, and then Legends Galar, which needs to be scrapped, and then the whole Legends thing. Other parts of the leak show that it was supposed to be Legends Johto, but it got changed to Kalos, and then I guess because of that, they didn't have enough time, so they just put it inside of a city. We're not going to Kalos. We don't get to see the Generation 6 region. For some reason, we get to go back to Galar after, 8 years, never mind. So, like, yeah, 2019 into, like, 2027, 2028 is insane. Because now it shows, like, oh, there's so many regions, and Pokemon has gotten so large that it actually isn't sustainable, and it means we need 4 years in between generations. 2030 is actually planned already for Generation 11, so now it has to be 4 years in between generations instead of 3, because there's just so many generations, and now you have to, like, fit in your remake game, and now you have to fit in, like, your alternative game, and then you use DLC to buy some time, and then you fit something else inside of it. But, like, this is just really, really rough for Pokemon, especially while other companies are just making moves. Like, Animo comes out of nowhere. It's like, well, now we have our Pokemon MMO. You had all this time to do something, Game Freak. You should have been developing it from the very start. Like, see, we have Gen 10 and all this other stuff, and another crazy timeline up here where it's like Seed. So the MMO is codenamed Seed. Like, did they, like, I guess it was progressing a little bit through 2023, and then, like, Gaia has all this long development. Like, bro, what's going on with all these development cycles that are just happening? Synapse is still on here. Who fucking knows what's going on with that? It's like we have all these things just kind of getting split up instead of just making, like, one big good game everyone works on, and then Pokemon is happy and they're able to keep up. But even then, like, okay, Pokemon Seed starts in 2022. Maybe it has, like, a $20 million budget, because Gen 10 has a Gen 10 has a $20 million budget. So this has a big budget as well. This is some kind of, like, planning, and then they were going to make it in, like, 3 years. It's like, well, Animo comes out of nowhere and is just that, but better and already ready to go. Same thing for all these other indie studios. Pal World is beating Game Freak. Pocket Pair just comes out of nowhere, and now it's like, yeah, we're releasing next year. Animo's releasing next year. So Game Freak is now 3 years behind on the Pokemon MMO everyone wanted, while they're just deciding to ruin the entire franchise to make Legends, which is the worst selling, worst decision they can make for anything. Like, no one cares about that. They want to play real main series Pokemon because Legends is main series, and there's idiots that still consider it a spinoff. I actually dealt with one today. I mean, we have like 117,000 subscriber YouTubers just being idiots and wrong, which also shows like why the community is falling apart, because Game Freak is also falling apart, but it's a spinoff. It's only a mainline game if it continues next generations. But Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is main series, Black and White 2, all these, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that's not next generation. Like, these things are still main series. So, give them the Joe Merritt tweet confirming from Game Freak that's considered mainline. I still only consider it mainline if it continues the next region. So, like, people just choose to be stupid. I call Brilliant Diamond Shine Pearl a remaster, but I won't call it a mainline game. So, I've been considering remakes main series is where we're at. It's like, yeah, the community is just completely falling apart, and there's nothing we can do about that. So, Legends actually confused the already fragile morons of the Pokemon community, which doesn't help Pokemon at all. And then we're just going to throw away the lore where it's like, okay, cool, we lived the darkest day, but now things are confusing, because like, okay, so we only go back like 150 years where Sinnoh is magically Hisui, even though Sinnoh folklore goes down to like the creation of the lake spirits, whoever knows how far ago that was, and doesn't even put timelines. Like, why are we telling a legend story if there's no timeline? We can't even piece together Pokemon history from this. And people are like, but it says 1850. It's like, that was private leaked information that maybe got retconned. Who knows? It's like, are we going to go back however many thousands of years? I don't remember the lore of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So we go back all that time to relive Galar, and if we don't, then why are we calling it Legends? But for ZA, we go 5 years in the future to tell a legend. A legend is a historical story. And we're not building any legends 5 years after Team Flare shenanigans. What is this? It's so lost and confused, and I called this back when Pokemon Legends Arceus came out. Like, actually the death of Pokemon right there. And then we can see there's just, like, too many development pipelines to keep up with now, so Pokemon has no identity, as they also just kind of shoehorn in DEI goals. And now it's, like, 2028. We are 3 years, if there's no delays, for the multiplayer game. And then, like, Gen 11's still on the table somehow. So it's like, by that, bro, like, Pal World, like, dude, I pray Pocket Pair sees this and they use this to, like, alter their development strategy or get ideas or something. Especially because, like, I'm not saying, like, because of the lawsuit, but if they're spiteful because of the lawsuit, they need to use this against Game Freak. I don't think Nintendo has done anything wrong defending their patents. People are, like, way too stupid about that side. But from the other end, it's like, yeah, Pal World, Pocket Pair, use this. Where it's like, you know, they have a multiplayer plan for 2028, 2029. Pal World is getting a full release next year. Your next project, just beat them to the punch on an MMO. And you win. Same thing with, like, Animo and all this stuff. It's like, alright, cool. Pokemon's dead. Maybe forever. Unless Can this be the Renaissance? Or will just no one care by then? Because, like, Pokemon Champions, too little, too late. Pokemon Unite, way too late. I was talking about wanting a Pokemon MOBA back in 2013 when League of Legends was the biggest game in the world. League of Legends fell out, and then, like, almost a decade later, Pokemon Unite just kind of appears, and the Pokemon community was already too brain-rotted and cooked to handle that game. So, yeah, that was too late, even though I think a Pokemon MOBA is, like, the most needed thing, like, the most necessary part of the franchise, and is an incredible thing to have inside the game, but the community ruined it. Also, outsourcing it to Tencent, not a great idea either. So it's like, we finally have our multiplayer game. Like, Pokemon's dead by then. Especially if you're trying another Legends game after ZA, after the complete joke of ZA, and if Pokemon Wind and Waves doesn't really hit, because, like, in 2026, we've already got full release Pal World, we have Animo, we have all these other games, whatever other project just comes out of nowhere. And then, oh, we get to sit on DLC for a year, which no one plays. So, like, 2 years of a dead game after the dead game of ZA, after not having a game for 3 years. And then we finally get our multiplayer. Like, cool, maybe this is the renaissance of Pokemon, but, like, is anyone caring about Pokemon in 2029 to revive it like Pokemon X and Y? Because the thing about Pokemon X and Y, that was just one generation. It's like, yeah, Pokemon Black and White sucked. Generation 5 was so anti-Pokemon, it killed off a lot of the OG Pokemon fans. But, like, OG Pokemon fans aren't even alive by 2029 to finally have the multiplayer that they waited over 3 decades. Well, not 3 decades for, but it's like over a decade, potentially 20 years at this point. Like, where's my Pokemon MMO game? I grew up on RuneScape and World of Warcraft. Why did it take so long? Why did it take my entire life to finally get an MMO? And that's also going to be, like, immediately overshadowed by Generation 11, maybe. That's if anyone even plays it. So, like, all the OG fans that made Pokemon Go the massive success that it was, that was perfectly timed. Like, 2016, you're hitting into your 30s, potentially, as, like, someone that grew up on Pokemon. And you're an adult, but you can still, like, bounce into it and feel that. We're now going 13 years past that. Which is... like, yeah, you don't have any, like, no original Pokemon fans are coming back. That's actually the largest part of your player base that's going to be active and dedicated to it, and just gone. And now you're just left with the losers you've been catering to that think Pokemon Legends Arceus is good and wanted Pokemon Legends ZA. While they have no respect for your game, they cry if you say, hey, you have to go online to get the Mega Stones. Hey, you have to train your Pokemon if you want to battle them. Ew, Pokemon Champions. I'll just stay away from that. It's like, Game Freak, listen to the vocal minority. It fractured Game Freak, it fractured the community, and now there's no way to put the pieces back together, and they've taken too long to do so. So it's just it's gone. It doesn't fit anymore. And I don't know, like, what that means. And it's like, yeah, it would be cool if this is, like, the hype time and everyone comes back for Pokemon by this point. But I think it's so far away, after so many failures, that everyone's just going to move on and not care. Like, Pokemon's actually GG. That's what I mean. I can get 20 minutes out of this before we even go into the details of the Generation 10 leaks. I'm talking about it, so whatever. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.